Hi guys, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is June Kamba. If you are new here, you're welcome to this channel. It's an entirely agricultural channel where we discuss all things agriculture, agribusiness, and agri-lifestyle. So in today's episode, if you checked in our previous episode, we talked about GMOs and we asked ourselves, what is this GMO and how can it help us as Kenyans and as human beings in general? So today I come with the findings that I had. I said I'm going to look to research with a professional. So I just conversed with various professionals, and so here are some of the results that I gathered. And also, I'll be referring to a book. It's gonna be a review, just a small review of this book. It's by a company called Biba. If you can say Biba. Biba is actually an organization that really advocates for organic farming. They're very anti-GMO, and I myself as well am also very anti-GMO because I really focus on organic farming as a way to maybe let's say to just achieve, you know, other than just being sufficient with food, you need to have quality food. It's important for us to have good quality food, not just consuming whatever is just being, said or provided. It's time to to step up the game and to actually decide. You have the power to choose. As a Kenyan, you have the power to choose what you eat. Because this GMO is just, it's as I said, it's going to mutate on you. Who knows? Who knows? It might mutate on you. So we're going to review reasons to avoid GMO. I don't know if you can see properly. Okay, there we go. Reasons to avoid GMOs. Yeah, so they have 15 reasons as to why we should avoid GMOs, and they have divided it into three parts, the three portions. The first portion is going to be the health harms, obviously how it's going to affect us as human beings and as Kenyans especially. So they say GMOs are grown with toxic chemicals. Yes, that's true. Already the organic ones, okay, not the conventional farming, we already grow them with enough toxins as it is, yeah. So they're going to be grown with the toxic chemicals, and of course they're going to have the pesticide residues already in them. And then the second one, research has shown that laboratory mammals fed GMOs suffer adverse effects that include damage to kidneys, liver, and heart. Oh my goodness. Additionally, their immune systems were compromised, and in some cases, brain size was reduced. Can you imagine that? Like, they had organ failures. That was the kidneys. The kidneys and the livers, these are the ones that just help to keep our blood clean. They just remove the waste, which is eventually excreted through urination or excretion. So these organs are finding it hard to even just digest and to purify our blood from these GMOs. Yeah, and then brain size was reduced. Like, I'm already having a hard time trying to figure out this life. Can you imagine my brain size being reduced? Like, wow, that's insane. And then they also have the environmental harms. The environmental harms, how does it affect our environment? Farming is all about the environment, by the way. Don't be cheated, otherwise at is what nene nene. If it does not rain, if the soil is not good, there's no way you can farm. There's just no way you can farm. So already as it is, Kenya is 80% arid, meaning that majority of the people in this country come from arid places, yeah? We have the northeastern, we have the eastern. The places that are very fertile are very few, and this very few places have been developed industrially. They have no industrial centers, the residential areas. They're not really farming areas anymore. They're not a hotbed for farming anymore. So the environmental harms, the GMO require huge amount of chemicals that are harmful to soil, water, atmosphere, and living organisms. Yeah. So to just create these GMOs, um, they're going to be harmful for the soil, and the soil is actually where the soil is where the nutrients for the plant come from. Because in biology, maybe if you didn't take biology, let me just explain briefly. The sun helps the plants to utilize their nutrients. Yeah, just to let's say let's to help them to get nourished. It helps them to get nourished. Whatever they are taking, it helps them to get nourished. It now becomes food. It converts the fertilizer, the mbolea now, it converts it to become now food, any active food sasa. So the food mostly comes from the ground. That's why you find that when we are cultivating the land, we add in the manure or the compost, whatever you use, we add it to the soil. You don't add it to the plant. The plant will take it up for itself. Yeah. So now, if you destroy this soil where the plant takes up the food, what will the what will the plant take? I'm just like questioning. If you have any answers to that question, you can just, write it in the comment section below. Tell me what you think about it. Yeah. So these GMOs are going to be harmful for the soil. They're going to be harmful for the water because obviously these companies will be polluting. Like once they start to manufacture these seeds or whatever they're going to do, the wastewater will be used to obviously it will be disposed in the rivers. Like this is Kenya, it's going to be disposed to the rivers. The fourth one, and the fourth reasons why we do not need to use GMOs. Sorry. GMOs increase the need for stronger and more poisonous pesticides. Imagine this thing has already been mutated and then now it gets sick. It's already been mutated and then it gets sick. Where will you get that medicine? Surely we'll have to get for a stronger dose, of course, a stronger dose to the pesticide. That is the pesticide, and also like even obviously like the pests will become genetically mutated, meaning they'll also become stronger. Like they'll become stronger. So imagine someone who has GMO and their neighbor has the organic farming, let's say, and then this organic neighbor gets like the mutated pests. How will he or she be able to combat that pest? Surely it will mean that even this organic farmer will stop being organic anymore, because now it reaches a point these pests won't be able to just work with the conventional like traditional ways to deal with pests. Yeah, and even the disease that they'll be getting, obviously they will, like generally like human beings and nature in general adapt. We usually adapt. Like remember during COVID, people thought, wow, what do you mean you're going to be wearing masks? But eventually we had to adapt. So everything that is natural adapts. So even these plants, these diseases, they'll adapt to complex plants that they need to feed on. As in, guys, let's just keep it simple. Just say no to GMO. As in, at this point, I'm in number 4 and I'm already freaking out. Like, what do you mean? Like, already this plant it's genetically modified and then it gets sick. At least they'd have said it doesn't get sick, but it already gets sick. So let's go to uh point number 5. Point number 5. GMOs are causing a growing epidemic on superweeds. On superweeds, we're on number 5 here. I don't know if you can see. But if you have the chance, you can visit the stand. They are currently at the National Museum. And I'll also leave their contacts in the description box below in case you guys would like to reach out to them. Yeah, or if you want to be advised on the better ways of farming, yes. And also, superweeds. What are superweeds? Superweeds are the weeds that, like obviously weeds are, other plants that take up the nutrient of the. Let's say if you're planting maize and then you see grass there, grass is going to be a weed because it's not what you're planting. So whatever nutrients you're giving to the maize, the grass will also want to take up on that nutrient. So that is going to be a weed. But if you plant it obviously on a lawn, it's not a weed. Yeah. If you find your lawn has maize, that's when maize becomes a weed. Yeah. So these super weeds are just other crops, just other ideas, other practices that will yes, that are going to take up the nutrients. So these massive weeds have evolved a resistance to gly- glyphosate. Glyphosate. They have developed a resistance to glyphosate, a chemical used on GM crops, genetically modified crops. Stronger toxic chemicals and soil eroding tillage operations are required in order to eliminate superweeds. So these weeds, as I said, nature evolves and nature adapts. So even these weeds, they've sensed that this plant is just not normal. It's not normal. So even us will just mutate, even us, because I don't like they don't want to be gotten rid of by the normal. Like then they already gain power. They also gain strength. Yeah. So it will be very hard to eliminate these weeds. Yeah. So GMO contributes to global warming. GM crops require synthetic nitrogen fertilizers, which are responsible for approximately 60% of total emissions of nitrous oxide, a greenhouse gas nearly 300 times more potent than carbon dioxide. Oh my god. So, what does this mean even? Let me just try and internalize that. So, this GMO, they require synthetic nitrogen. They don't, crops, one of the things that crops feed on is nitrogen. There's the organic nitrogen which comes from the manure, like the waste products, yani mbolea in Kiswahili. Mbolea is rich in nitrogen. It's rich in nitrogen. So this synthetic nitrogen that is going to be used to give nutrients to these GMOs, it has emissions. Obviously, like maybe it evaporates, or maybe when it's left on the ground, like there's just a way, obviously, it will evaporate because if it's not taken up 100%, the ones that are released into the air, those are emissions. So it means it's 300 times more potent. In evaporate haraka by 300 times kuliko carbon dioxide. So it's a big contributor to the global warming. As it is, the sun is so hot, if that's what it means. GMO practices contaminate our organic and local food and seed systems. Mhm. GMO practices contaminate our organic and local food and seed systems. Yeah, because this one I can just say, like every time you have these GMOs, once you plant it, it's not like like the way you can plant um maize, or you can plant, let's say, like a fruit like papaya. You can plant papaya, and then when it's time to harvest, you cut the papaya, you remove the seeds, you leave them out to this is a Kenyan tradition, I'm sure someone here has done it. Like you cut and then you remove the seeds, and then you say, I'll just dry this and then I'll plant them. This kind of GMO, you can't do that because you will leave them out to dry, you will water them, you will do everything, but they will never grow. They won't grow. They have been genetically terminated not to reproduce. So no, so that means every time you need to plant something, you have to go and buy the seed. And the seed is not like at a guarantee. Okay, first of all, it's not. Why should you buy seeds? Like the papaya already has seeds. It already has seeds. What are the seeds for then? The seeds are for. So, number 8, beneficial insects can be harmed. Yes, like I don't know how often you get to see earthworms these days, but earthworms zimepotea. Like earthworms are, I don't know where they went to. And these are beneficial plant. These are beneficial insects, sorry. Because earthworms, whenever the ground is moist and then the earthworms just move about in the soil, they create room for air to move within the soil, meaning that this soil will not become packed. Oxygen will flow through the soil. Yani just water will drain well in the soil. It won't just be like a stone. Like there'll be, they also excrete manure. Obviously, they excrete manure, which is good for the plants also. Yeah. So these insects will be harmed. Like insects like ladybugs. There's this. Not all insects that you find in the farm are harmful. Some of them are very good. Like even bees. Bees, imagine bees. Like what kind of honey will we be having? GMO honey also. So like bees, collapsing of bee population is going to be high because this food will be too toxic for them. Yeah. So let's go now to the harmful social and human rights. Yeah, so I said this part is divided. Is this 15 reasons to say no to GMO, it's divided into three parts. And the first one was the health harms, the environmental harms, and then now we are in the third part, which is the social and human rights. So this is also point number 9. Number 9 says GMOs are promoted as ways to feed the world and mitigate hunger. That's the notion they're spreading. However, numerous studies demonstrate that the GM products do not produce higher yields as claimed. So it's not like if you plant a GMO seed, you get 15 times the harvest. You'll probably just add maybe, let's say, one. Let's say just you add probably add one. Yeah. So it's not if you start to weigh, it's not as as demanding as it seems. It's not as demanding. Like the outcomes are the side effects are much more worse than just having that extra one. In my opinion, it's much more. You'd rather just have with whatever you have. You just adapt as human beings. You adapt. Yeah. So because GMO are novel life forms, they're new life forms. Biotechnology companies have been able to obtain patents with which they restricted their use. So this GMO, for you to plant this GMO, you have to have like a certificate or something. You just can't go and buy seeds and start saying, "Oh, me now I plant GMO." There's a certificate that you need to have. I don't know what they will teach you, but you have to have a certain certificate because it's a patent. You just can't go and buy seeds and then start to plant. On top of it, not reproducing, you also need to be certified. So now in this statement, they're saying, as a result, the companies that make GMOs now have the power to sue with they have the power to sue farmers whose fields are contaminated with GMOs. Oh my. Even when it is a result of inevitable drift, such as cross pollination from neighboring fields. Wow. So, like, if let's say, for instance, a bee comes, they pollinate, they come to this farm that has GMO, they take the, let's say, the pollen, and then they go to another neighboring plant, a farmer who grows organic farming, and then they cross pollinate. And then, let's say, like, the other plant starts to mutate and it becomes kind of GMO or it reproduces GMO seed. Can you imagine? That farmer can be sued. As in this, that farmer can be sued. So that's that, guys. That's that. That's just that. GMO leads to corporate control over seed and food. Today, only one company controls about 95% of GM seeds. This limits access to seeds, which are the center of food and life. There's a saying I always say, he who has the power to feed you has the power to starve you. So can you imagine if all your seeds come from this one manufacturer whom I don't even know? If these seeds come from one manufacturer, what will happen the day they say no? Wow. He who has the power to feed you has the power to starve you. So on this note also, like I also do kitchen gardening. So if you guys have space, would like to grow organic foods, indigenous foods, I can hook you up with that. I also grow and my seeds are indigenous, locally available. You do not need to buy new seed. Ukipanda mahindi, uvune, unaweza panda tena. Yes. So the next point, we're going now to point number 12 out of the 15. We're in point number 12. These large agri-corporations and current seed laws do not let farmers save seeds. They don't let farmers save seeds, a basic practice that has continued for centuries to ensure food security. I mean, I believe that there's a reason why plants have seeds. And if this plant has a seed and you can take this single seed and plant it and becomes a tree, it becomes a tree to reproduce more fruits that have more seeds. There's just a balance to it. Yeah. There's just a way nature is supposed to be. So, like, why should you compromise that? Why would anyone compromise that? I don't think it's something that needs to be compromised for food security. That's actually hindering food security, if you may ask me. That's actually hindering because why would I want a plant that does not that I can't even explain this. It's beyond me. At this point, it's beyond me. I don't understand that logic. Aya. In Kenya, specifically, the impending growth of GM maize is likely to interfere with the rights of consumers. Sorry, it's likely to interfere with the rights of consumers. This means that you may be what does it mean? That you may consume this maize and you don't even know that it's GMO. You, if you go to buy maize, we buy maize when it's okay. Even when you buy maize as a whole, it's not written that it's GM. Who will say in Kenya? Who will say? If it's GMO, who will say? And people have said no. No one will say. So you won't even know what you're eating. Yeah? You won't even know what you're eating. And they won't even tell you. Most of the times, it's very rare to find someone who will tell you he needs GMO. Mm, that's how it is. Right? Is that right or is that not right? Yeah, so on to point number. Yeah, on to point number 15. There is growing evidence that Kenya's regulating agencies are not up to the task of guaranteeing their safety in the country. It's just how it is, guys. That's just how it is. And we all, I think, majority of us should know that if you don't know that by now. Like, yes, these GMOs may come and maybe they want to make it standard for us to eat, but our bodies are not yet there. Like, there's just already, like, Kenyan government, you just know how it is. Someone will just sleep on their job. The time anaamka vitu zishasainiwa. So that's it, guys. That's it for today. So we've been doing a literature review of this brochure that I collected. Reasons to say no to GMO. Reasons to avoid GMOs by Biba. You can find them at their offices. I will link the address in the description box below. Thank you guys for watching up to this far. Have a good day. Have a good rest of your day.